Hi everyone. A lot of people have been asking me how I get ready in the morning, and it is at times a mission because my skin, like most of you, doesn't want to behave. I am in my 40s, so fine lines, pores, sun damage, and amongst other things, dryness are always an issue. So it's very important that I try not to apply too much product, and most of my efforts are taken into skincare steps to make sure that my skin is properly hydrated. So what I wanted to do is give you a preview of what I do in the AM so that my skin is nice and hydrated. I like to first off start with a spray, and this is the old packaging of the Moly face hydrator. It's like a Fix Plus from MAC. So I like to spray this down quite a bit. And I let it sit in for approximately 2 minutes or so. Sometimes I'll tap it in the skin. What's nice about this product, it has spring water, and it helps the skin look its best at all times because it adds a little cushion for everything else I want to put on. Next, I will be using a hydrator, and this is MAC Lightful, Lightful C, but this is the older version because I did accumulate quite a bit when I worked for the brand. I like to put a little bit on. What's nice about this particular product, it's not greasy. It has a nice amount of hyaluronic acid to really make the skin look hydrated. So again, I pressed this guy in there. And for sunblock, I do like to use Atomy. This is a Korean brand. It's actually only sold through representatives, and it is a high protection moisturizing sunblock. What's nice about it is for lighter skin tones, it does have a little bit of color. It's got a light yellow in it to really brighten up the skin, and the texture of it is like a quasi moisturizer, so you do get moisturization plus the benefits of an SPF, and this is an SPF 35. So what I like about Korean skincare when it comes to sunblock is that, number one, I don't get the eye sting that's usually found in most sunblocks that are created in the US, because most of the time the US brands use methyl oxycinamide. It's a tongue twister, and that particular product actually for some people does cause some eye irritation. Now I'm ready for a primer. Again, the AM, I don't want to go crazy. I do enjoy using this product. For those of you that know me, I now work for European Wax Center, and we have this product called Renew Me Restoring Serum. It's super good for a primer. You know why? Because it doesn't overwhelm the skin. It helps fill in some of the bumps that are in your skin based on the pore size. Also helps with fine lines, and on top of that, it has a nice dose of vitamin C and botanicals to help protect the skin from pollution. So I use about a pump. And then I, a lot of times, don't want to wear a lot of foundation on my days off, so I actually get a little bit of concealer and I mix it in. Now today I am experimenting with Urban Decay. This is the trial size of the Naked Concealer as a foundation. A lot of times, again, I don't like to use a whole lot of product, so I'm going to put a dab here of the Naked Skin, and I'm going to mix the two and create a foundation. What I like about this combination is that it gives just enough coverage, again, without overwhelming my skin, so I don't feel like I'm wearing a pancake. As we age, the more we put, sometimes the worse it gets. So I'm mixing the two. As you can see, it becomes this beautiful sheer concoction. And I like to start with just under my eyes first. And as far as applying foundation products, I do enjoy using, ironically, my middle finger, because it's a nice balance of middle level of pressure. Pressure is so important when it comes down to putting on skin, because if you use a lot of pressure a lot of times, you end up with probably, it just looks cakey. And just a little bit of concealer. I'm going over the areas that usually have a lot of redness. What I like about the serum is that it's very silky. Now I used to use Fast Response Eye Cream from MAC, and I love that stuff, but I actually love the European Wax Center serum much better just because it absorbs quicker and it doesn't have too heavy of a silicone slip. Now, because it is a skincare serum, it's going to give my skin a nice dose of vitamins and hydration. So when I put on any other corrector, my skin is going to look more like butter and less like paste. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with a little bit of a concealer just where I need to. And I do have my MAC concealer palette in light. This is a little bit on the NC25NW20 side. I'm basically mixing the two and just hitting it up where I need to, which is usually right here in the corners of the eye. I like to put a little concealer on my eyelids, corners of the mouth, as well as my upper lip and my chin. I know a lot of us watch those Instagram videos, but we really don't need that much concealer if we've prepped the skin correctly. So I'm just tapping this down. If you notice, I'm just using very light pressure and tapping this down. And if your skin's prepped really well, a lot of times you don't really need a whole lot of product, believe it or not, because the product will actually spread a little bit better. And skin should look like skin. It shouldn't look like you're covering everything else. Now, of course, if you have issues with very extreme hyperpigmentation or even acne, then that's another story. But even then, skin should be skin. Because the last thing you want when you're mature is for your skin and on your face and your body to look completely different. I love to call that the mannequin effect. Okay, now I finished tapping down all that concealer and it looks pretty good. I mean, their eyelids are gonna crease a little until I set everything, but everything looks pretty clean, right? So now I'm going to go ahead and powder. And before I powder, I like to go and tap down the concealer on my lids. Okay, so now I'm ready to set my foundation. In order to properly set foundation in hot weather to reduce the effects of humidity, so we don't melt like a candle here in Florida, I like to use a translucent powder that is created to control oil and shine. And there's a whole lot of different powders out in the market. I do love MAC Prep and Prime translucent powder. It's a setting powder that's colorless. It looks white in a compact. And another one I've discovered, which is only $4, that is just as good, is the Essence matte powder, and this is called All About Matte. You can get this at Ulta for roughly $4.99. I am also using one of these types of brushes that look like a toothbrush. We find these everywhere. I got mine from eBay from China. It took about a month to arrive from Guangzhou. But I'm using it just to make sure that underneath my eyes are nice and set, you know, set with powder. You know why? It's because when it's humid, mascara tends to stick to emollient surfaces. So I like to quasi-bake around underneath my eye and my lids. This way, I know my shadow is not going to move. And then, of course, I bounce that brush all over my face to make sure that I will have oil control on the areas that I need concentrating the application in the T-zone because I'm a sweaty girl. And then taking the excess and bouncing it towards my cheek. Now on camera, you're gonna see that, oh, it looks awfully white, but that's okay because we are going to take off that excess. What I like about this powder is that, again, it's inexpensive and effective, and it works well for most light to medium skin tones. For deeper skin tones, they also have a banana version, which is really, really good as well. It's one of my best finds at Ulta. And now I want to take off any excess, and I like these giant fan brushes, and what I do is I just dust off the extra. Skin is going to look a little bit matte, which is what we want. And voila, skin is prepped. Okay, so now when I get ready in the morning, I like to contour my face before I start with the color. And I am actually going to contour my face with a brow powder. I'm going to use the Browfection Duo. And I have the light version. This is the light palette. This is called Sand and Taupe, and I love this for my skin tone. And what I do is I take that giant fan brush and I basically follow the contours of my face. You can see, just moving it up to the hairline from the top of the ears all the way down to the iris, and then following the horizontal line from the bottom of the pit of my ear here out towards my nose. What I like about this powder is that it's super easy to blend, and it gives a very realistic contour without looking overwhelming. I'm holding that brush really, really far from the handle, not really close, kind of in the middle, compared to how a lot of people normally use it, because I want to make sure I use less pressure on my face. And this way I get a very airbrushed effect. Again, blending it all up to the hairline. This brush is great because I can also use it to highlight as well. I find that it's better for me to contour my face before I add color. Or sometimes I don't even want to add color. I just want to do a little bit of a clean skin, bronzy, and throw on a mascara. I'm good to go. Or a brow. And then I put a little bit of product right in the bristles, and then I can do a little bit of a nose contour without looking like it's very obvious. Because I have a tiny nose, this works perfectly. And then blend towards the cheek. So ultimately, my skin has a little bit of structure, but not too much. Okay, now I'm going to speed up my makeup routine for the rest of my face so you can see the finished effect. So at this point, what I'm doing is defining the brows using a brow pencil and setting it with a brow powder, which is the same one I used to contour my face. And then I went in and contoured my eye with the same exact brow powder. So I have a very uniform contoured look. Curled the lashes using a mini lash curler. Added a bit of gel liner. This is the one by Bobbi Brown. And topped off the eyes with a waterproof mascara. This is the MAC in Extra Dimension mascara in black. And then finished off the lip. And there you have it. The look is done. As for the brows, I did use the Sandin Taupe European Wax Center powder on top of the old school sepia pencil because I do have a lot of red in my hair and I want it to somewhat match my face. And since my undertones in my skin is quite golden, it gives a nice brightening effect to the rest of my features without having to use so much eyeshadow. I also did purposely apply my mascara and had an error, so there was an opportunity here and here to show you how to quickly correct. And basically what you do is you wait till the mascara dries down a tiny bit and then you go over it with a spoolie. I used a spoolie that was on the end of my brow brush, and then I powdered down my lids to make sure that the concealer is nice and set. For my cheeks, I left it as is with the contours. I wanted a very natural look. And for my lips, I used the MAC Retro Matte Liquid Lips in Mademoiselle. Over a bed of a lip conditioner, which is basically my favorite. It's the Bigelow. This is the Rose Salve. I actually use this quite a bit when I'm traveling and my lips are dry. It works wonders on the lips while you're sleeping, and it looks great under liquid lipstick so that you don't look chapped. And thanks for watching. Bye.